Welcome to Blackbird Writers Presents, where we interview amazing authors for your listening pleasure and viewing pleasure. Today, we are lucky enough to have Dorothy Howell with us. Dorothy is the USA bestselling author of 48 novels in the mystery and romance genres. Her books have been translated into a dozen languages with millions sold worldwide. She writes the Sewing Studio mystery series, as well as the Lois Brannigan personal shopper series and the Haley Randolph and Dana Mackenzie series. She writes historical romance novels under her pen name, Judith Stacy. Dorothy lives with her family in Los Angeles. And welcome, Dorothy. We're so glad to have you.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you inviting me.
Well, I was going to dive right into your most recent book, but I want to back up just a little bit. In July, you released your latest Lois Brannigan mystery, which is The Personal Shopper, and it's A Bargain to Die For. Now, I read the first one. I haven't made it, obviously, to the no, this isn't. I haven't made it to the third one in this series yet, but I think it's a scream that she is shopping for D-list clients. Can you tell us a little bit about what she does and how you came up with that as a profession for her?
Well, I came up with the idea of Hollis, who had come to Los Angeles from the Midwest, sort of on a whim with her best friend. And so she's out here and she can't find a job. She has to find a job. So she ends up as a personal shopper for a large concierge service. And I thought that would be fun for her. She's so far down the totem pole that she has to shop for D-list clients. They're not even on the list. In the book, they're called off-listers. So she's not exactly shopping for people who are wanting the latest fashion or the most trendy outfits. She has one particular customer who always wants khaki pants with elastic waistband, which are fine. I wear those. They're very
I was going to say that would be me.
Yes, I know. But as far as they're not exactly A-list customers.
But that's not fun to shop for,
No,
especially for someone else.
No.
Now, they actually, I know that they have personal shoppers for getting gifts. Like if a production is going to give the whole cast a gift, then they have personal shoppers. Do they actually have personal shoppers for whatever powerful people they might be? Places like this concierge service?
Unfortunately, I don't actually know any A-list people myself. But I figured they must have personal shoppers. They're just bound to. So I thought
it was great.
I thought that I had to take that and put it in a big concierge service, because Hollis really wants to go to work in their investigations department, because one of the big subplots is she's trying to find her sister who's gone missing. And so just to get in the door, she takes this personal shopper's position, and because, she needs a paycheck. So
is she, well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Is she closer to finding her sister in the third book?
Actually, there's 2 books, and the second one is the one that just came out.
Oh, I jumped from Haley to Hollis.
That's fine. Yes, well, I don't want to give it away, but that situation is definitely addressed in the second book.
It's going to be addressed. Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. Now, the third book, Bargain to Die For, just came out in July 2022. And now here in September 27th, you're going to have your first Sewing Studio mysteries. Seems like murder.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that. I wanted to try, I forgot you can't get a preview of something that's not released yet, but
well, I do have this is the cover.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love that.
Kensington just does a great job on covers.
Beautiful.
You can see the little cat here. The little cat's name is Cheddar because he's orange.
Love that.
So Seems Like Murder is it's a cozy mystery, and it's set in a quaint touristy town of Hideaway Grove. It's a fictional town. I actually made the whole thing up myself, which was kind of fun. I actually had to draw a map to keep track of all of it. So the main character is Abbey Chandler, and she is young, and she had this life in Los Angeles that she was really going for and loved, and the whole thing fell apart. So she retreats to Hideaway Grove, where she spent her summers with her aunt when she was young and when she was growing up. So she gets there to hoping for peace and quiet to figure out what in the world she's going to do with her life. And immediately she gets involved with a murder. She's the suspect, and her car gets towed to the crime lab. So she's stuck in town. So she takes the storage room in her aunt's bakery and turns it into a sewing studio and gets involved in a charity sewing project that she's heading up for the town.
Oh, it's wonderful. It sounds like another good series. I do want to ask you, you've got so many varied careers. You've got the personal shopper, you've got a character who's an employee at a financial institution, you've got an event organizer, a sewer of charity dresses. Do any of those the professions of your characters come from personal experience?
Well, I did back a long time ago, I did have a real job for 20 years, and it was with a financial institution. So I did that for a while. Most of the careers, pardon me?
Can you sew?
Actually, you know what? I learned to sew from my sister when I was really young. And then later, when I got married, I sewed for myself and for my daughter when she was really little. And then years later, decades later, I was having lunch with a friend, and she was telling me how she had started making pillowcase dresses for little girls in Africa. And it just reminded me of how much I used to love to sew. And it was such a good charity and a good thing to do that I started doing it too. So yes, so that's how I got the idea for Seems Like Murder, because I make pillowcase dresses and I donate them to a nonprofit, and their volunteers actually take them to remote villages in Africa and distribute them to the girls. So I've been doing that for several years now, and I just went over 1,000 dresses that I've
you're kidding me. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So I put that in the book, and in Seems Like Murder, I also put instructions in there on how to make the pillowcase dresses.
Oh,
They're
good.
really simple. You just need basic sewing skills. You don't really have to be able to.
And that's what I have.
Yes. Well, then there you go.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They're fun to make. I really enjoy them. They're creative, and it's a nice departure from writing and other things in life that I have to get done. So.
And take your mind off of all those and do something good for somebody at the same time.
Yeah. I give the nonprofit that I donate them to has a website, and after the volunteers have been there, they put up pictures of all the little girls in all their new dresses, and their smiles and their colorful dresses, and it's just really heartwarming for me.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Do you want to give the name of the charity?
Oh, sure. It's called Little Dresses for Africa.
Okay, Little Dresses for Africa, for those who are better sewers than I.
You don't listen. You don't have to do a button. You don't have to. Oh, let me show you actually.
Oh, wonderful.
This is one of the dresses that I made.
Oh, how cute.
And you can see this is the pillowcase. And
oh my gosh, that's cute.
You cut it to size, and then you just put elastic through here. This is bias tape, and you long pieces of bias tape to do the armholes, and then the girls tie them at their shoulder.
Oh.
And then I always like to do a little something extra so you can see lace on the bottom.
Oh, Dorothy, that is adorable.
They turn out so cute, really, and I have a really good time with them. You don't have to do the lace, you don't have to do the other things, but I do because I just like to make them special.
Can I tell you,
when they get them.
When I took home ACK, my mom got me a kit because she knew me, and it was a skirt. It had the hem done. I pretty much had to sew the seam. I still didn't get it done before the end of the quarter. And they had a fashion show and I wasn't in it because I didn't have a good looking skirt. It was pathetic. It was pathetic, but I do have a sewing machine. So maybe I can try and revive and surpass those skills.
Okay.
Well, one thing that I've noticed reading your mysteries is that there's a theme of starting over in some of the mysteries, like in the Lois Brannigan. she escapes her small town past for Los Angeles. And then the latest sewing studio mystery, it's the opposite. She leaves the big city for small town living. So what do you think appeals to you and maybe the readers about that theme?
You know, I think that most everybody has come to that point in their life where either it's not working for them and they know they have to do something different, or a big change is thrust upon them. And I think people can relate to that, that you have to completely start over and try new things, go new places, learn new things. And I think that it appeals to readers because they like to read about somebody who did that and they made it work, that they were able to figure things out and find a new life and be happy there.
That's true. And they can learn vicariously through the character.
It's nice to know those things do work out, even though it's fiction. There's still a lot of places where it really does work out.
Yes. And I think that's what attracts so many people to like cozy mysteries,
Yes.
is because, I mean, we've got enough going around that, we won't get into it, but enough going around that could bring us down if we focus on it.
Oh,
And so reading about something and somebody, overcoming things without being nasty about it is
yes.
so refreshing. And I know that when I read them, I'm always like uplifted.
Oh, yes, me too. And I think that's why I chose to do cozies, because there's no graphic violence, there's
Yeah.
no sex scenes, and it's all usually positive and uplifting. And so I like that.
Is there a genre that you would like to try that you haven't?
Well,
Anything secret
how,
project that you'd love to do if you had the time?
if I had the time, I would like to try my hand at women's fiction.
Oh, wow.
I'm sort of a closet science fiction lover, so
Hey.
so I might write science fiction. I did write one science fiction book, and no editor or my agent saw my vision, so it didn't
Yeah.
go anywhere. But I still feel good that I wrote it, and it was different, and I tried it, and I liked it. So
Oh, wow.
maybe one day.
I'm like opening up to all sorts of new genres this year. I didn't normally read historical or women's fiction, and running into authors, you start reading them. I think you should. I think you should get that out there. Science fiction, that sounds so fun.
It was fun to write. It was fun to create a whole new world and a whole
Yes.
new characters and new situations to deal with. That's
The
always my
world
favorite part.
building. The world
Yes,
building is huge in
yes,
science fiction.
yes, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fun. I'm going to look for that.
Well, maybe I'll trot it out to my agent again. Maybe he'll have forgotten. He turned it down a couple years ago. And he'll like it this time.
Things change all the time.
That's true.
They do. Now you also write historical romances under Judith Stacy.
Yes.
How did you get into that, or were you in that first before you went to mysteries?
You know, when I first started writing, I wrote historical romance. Those were the first ones that I did. And I wrote, I think, 24 of those, 23, 24, and I loved them. I really, really enjoyed writing the historicals. And then it just, after that many books, I decided, I think it's time to do something different. And so I was reading some mysteries, and I always like mysteries. So I decided that I would give that a try and see if it would work. And luckily it did.
It did. It did, with 4 series and some still going. Which of your series, now obviously the Lois Brannigan, you've just come out with one and you're just starting one. Are the other 2 series done, or are you going to be looking going back to Haley at all, or
Well,
not sure?
my Dana McKenzie series is 3 books, and it's pretty much done.
Okay.
I don't think there's much else I can do with her. As far as Haley, she's actually my favorite
Is she?
character I ever wrote. She was so much fun, and I still hear from readers who say, "When's the next Haley book coming out?" But I've gotten involved in these 2 other series, so I just haven't gotten back to Haley. But she was absolutely my favorite. I like that she was just always landed on her feet. The most outrageous thing that could possibly be done, Haley did it. And, I kind of wished I was more like Haley.
I think that's like why we read these books.
Yes.
As we want to be more like
Uh-huh.
the characters on the page, because they,
Yes.
yeah, that's fantastic. So the door's not completely closed on her. It's
Not,
kind
no,
of closed, but maybe
no,
not completely.
not completely. I still love her. I would still write about her again. It's a matter of what am I going to do with her? There's 14
Oh,
books.
yeah.
And well, what are we going to, I got to figure out what to do with her next. She started out as a sales clerk, the world's worst sales clerk. And through the series, she transitioned into being an event planner where she's actually good at that. But that doesn't mean things go smoothly.
Right. I hope not, because we want to see that murder.
Yes, yes, yes. And things are going wrong.
You're so
So,
bloodthirsty,
yes.
but a clean murder. Now, is the writing process different when you're working on like a historical romance versus a cozy mystery? Is your writing process different? Or
Yes, yes. I find that with the historical romances, I always wrote in like two different time periods, like Westerns in like the 1880s, and then more like the Gilded Age of the late 1890s. So I didn't have to do a whole lot more research, so that was good. And I was writing for the same publisher, so I knew what they wanted. So, that was pretty easy. But when I started doing mysteries, you got to put clues in there. You got, you got to put red herrings and misdirection. And the hard part for me is getting it in the right order. The clues, well, who knew what when?
yeah, you
What
need very
happened? Did
well
this
romanced.
happen before this or after this? Because I want the reader to always, I never want them to figure out who did it till you got to the end. But when they get to the end, I want them to be surprised, but I want them to say, oh, yeah, here's all the clues that led up to that. So
Yes.
in that case, those for me, it's more of a challenge to write the
Yes,
mysteries.
that would be. Do you, oh, I wanted to ask you, because I'm sure readers of your mysteries are reading cozies, and they probably, if somebody watching this wants to run and check out the romance books, what's the heat level?
Oh, in the romances?
Yes,
Oh, very PG, really.
good.
Not,
Okay, well,
not a lot going on. I still would recommend them for, young people, young
right,
teens, but, older teens probably and on up like that because it just suited me better to
yes,
write them with people who are actually in love with each other.
yes,
And the love scene came out of the way they felt.
right.
And I think that's one of the reasons I didn't write contemporaries because the few I've read, it's a different attitude about it. And I like
Yeah,
the olden days better.
they're more romantic.
Yes, that's what I thought too.
It's better for romances.
Yes.
48 books, you're a prolific writer. I hear often from other authors and groups I belong to, how can I write faster? How can I get more books out? Do you have any advice?
Well, I could just share with them what I do. I think one thing about writing is that there's many different ways to do it and be successful at it. But when I started to get published, I was so excited. I couldn't stop writing. I was just in there like day and night writing and writing and writing. And it occurred to me that what I thought was being focused and goal oriented turned out to be obsessive.
Oh,
You can't sustain that. I couldn't sustain it. So I decided that if I was going to have a long-term writing career, which I desperately wanted and felt like I could have, I needed to treat it more like a business. So I came up with a writing schedule where I would write 10 pages a day, 5 days a week, weekends and holidays off. So my books are about 320, 330 manuscript pages. So, 10 a day, 5 days a week. If you do that, you get finished in, 6, 7 weeks and you're done.
mhm. Do you
So
edit as you go?
I do. I like to get to the end and be done. So, so as I go. So I spend about 4 or 5 hours a day writing and I try to get the 10 pages in. Frankly, as I've gotten a little bit older, that 10 page is a little bit harder to achieve, but I try to stick with it as much as I can to get the 10 pages done. So I find too that if it takes too long to write a book, I get a little bit weary of it.
Yes.
So I want to write it while it's still fresh and I'm still excited about it.
Now, do you ever work on more than one book at a time?
No,
Okay.
no, because I want to get it done.
Or even if are different stages, like are you ever like outlining one and then writing the other?
No, no, it works better for me to stay focused on one project at a time so I can get it done and move on to something else.
That's probably really wise. I remember somebody talking about how you can't really multitask. We think we can, but we can't. So it's probably more efficient and moves faster if you're just working on the one and focusing on the one.
It works for me. If other people can write two at a time, I say, well, have at it. And a tip of the hat to you for being able to do it.
Now, it's so what, September 9th, and I'm already starting my Christmas list of
Yes,
books.
I
I
know.
love Christmas themed,
I do too.
holiday themed, especially Christmas themed mysteries. I mean, I have the old ones that I reread every year, and I'm always on the lookout. So I wanted to mention for others who are like me that Sleigh Bells and Satchels is a Haley Randolph Christmas mystery. Were there any that others that I missed
I
when I was looking
actually
at your books?
wrote quite a few historical romance Christmas themed
Ah,
novellas for Harlequin. Uh, I think I did 4 or 5 of those. And they're all actually on my Dorothy Howell novels website. All the books are on
okay.
that website. So you can, readers, if they want to see the Christmas ones, they can go there and look at the historical romances and see which ones are the Christmas ones.
Okay, fun.
And I'm a big
Uh,
Christmas, I love Christmas too. We've been, feel like lost our minds. Okay. I put up more than one Christmas tree. I keep
Oh
buying
my.
decorations. Yeah. So it's fun. So
So now that you on the 27th, just as a reminder, the Sewing Studio Mystery Seems Like Murder is coming out. What are you working on now, or what's next for you?
well, that book it will be out. This one is the paperback of Shop Till You Drop Dead, the Lois Brannigan one, which I think they did a great job on the cover.
They
That's
did.
really cute. And then aside from that, audiobooks from the Haley
Oh,
Randolph series have been coming out. One just came out a couple months ago for the book Clutches and Curses. Haley is a nut about designer handbags. So all the titles are about handbags. And then in October, Tote Bags and Toe Tags will be out in audio. And then in November, Evening Bags and Executions will be out in audio.
oh
So
wow.
I'm really excited about those coming out. So I can take a little bit of time off from writing now that next year's sewing book is done. And so the next one, it'll be out in the fall of next year. So I was going to take just a few weeks off, maybe try to come up with something new or different or whatever and see before I
Wonderful.
have to start writing again.
Well, you definitely deserve it with
Well,
all of the stuff that you've been putting out.
thank you.
Just a reminder, everybody, that you can visit Dorothy Howell Novels on Facebook. Her mystery site is dorothyhowellnovels.com, and her romance website is Judith Stacy, and that's Stacy, no E, judithstacy.com. Thank you, Dorothy, so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. This was just delightful. Thank you.